All right, good afternoon. We'll start the public safety meeting for Thursday, October 3rd. We'll start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, any agenda additions or changes?
No.
Move the agenda.
Moved. Support by Commissioner Drosha. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, agenda approved. Approval of the minutes. Moved. Support by Commissioner, support by Commissioner Toomey. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, minutes approved. First limited public comment. All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Sheriff's Office report.
Good afternoon. Under Sheriff Jeff Cook on behalf of Sheriff Tom Reich. I'll read off the September 2024 highlights. On September 5th, our deputies assisted the Blackman Township Police Department in executing a search warrant on a credit card fraud case in Delta Township. That happens fairly often where other agencies will come in based on a complaint that was initiated in their jurisdiction, and then they need to conduct a search warrant in our jurisdiction. And we're glad that they notify us of that. It can be a problem if they don't, and then we're not aware of it, and somebody then calls dispatch and says there's people at our home. So anyways, on September 5th at 3:30 p.m., Olivet High School called Central Dispatch about a school threats complaint. There were no Olivet police officers working at the time, and we handled that complaint. On September 6th, our deputies responded to a call of a missing 75-year-old male with dementia who had walked away from a house on Riverside at M99. He had been gone for at least a couple of hours. He was upset that he was staying with his in-laws for one more night, so he wanted to walk home to Houghton Lake. We called out our available resources on the way to the call, including our drone unit and our K9. We take those calls very seriously, very important. We started getting tips from citizens having seen him in the area, but the tips were about an hour old. He finally decided he had enough walking, and he went up to a house to ask for help, and it had a very good ending. On September 7th, 2 horses got loose from their stalls, or however they were being kept at the fairgrounds overnight from the rodeo. We think that the owners discovered they were missing at around 4:30 a.m., and they called us into dispatch for be on the lookout. Sadly, at about 6:30 a.m., a northbound semi on I-69 just south of M50 hit, and both horses died from that collision. On September 9th, our deputies conducted a traffic stop and discovered the driver's operator's license was suspended, and there was also a warrant for his arrest out of Springport PD. Our deputies found a Smith & Wesson semi-automatic .40 caliber pistol tucked in the back seat of the vehicle, which was within his reach. They also found some methamphetamine. The suspect was arrested and lodged for carrying a concealed weapon, possession of a firearm while in the commission of a felony, that being the possession of methamphetamine. On September 10th, at approximately 2:45 p.m., our deputies responded to the report of a stabbing in the 2300 block of Canal Road in Delta Township. Our deputies located a 38-year-old male with stab wounds and began providing first aid. EMS took over. A suspect was quickly identified and was later located at an apartment complex in Delhi Township. No, in Delta Township, misspoke. Deputies were able to negotiate with the suspect inside the apartment, and the suspect, who was a 31-year-old man from Lansing, peacefully surrendered. The last we knew, the victim was in stable condition at the hospital. On September 12th, we had a case of a person accosting a minor for immoral purposes. Robert Maurice Herzing was arrested. He was a Waverly High School teacher. He had attempted to meet up with who he believed was a 15-year-old on that date. He was arrested and lodged on several felony charges. You may have seen some of that reported in the news media. On September 14th, a property damage accident and operating while intoxicated event occurred. While one of our deputies was en route to assist an MSP trooper who had called for assistance with a person resisting arrest, a driver who was operating under the influence collided with the side of our deputy's vehicle and was arrested. There were no injuries from that crash, thankfully. On September 13th, there was a school threat made, came in from Maple Valley Schools, but it was deemed to not be a credible threat. On September 13th, our deputies responded to a suicidal person call at Crandall Park and found a male there in his truck indicating he was going to commit suicide. He had other major mental health issues as well. Our deputies were able to talk him into exiting his vehicle, and he was transported to the hospital for treatment. Also on September 13th, our deputies responded to and investigated a home invasion and larceny in the 8900 block of South Clinton Trail. A female had broken into the home, took a shower, then stole some clothes and fled the scene. Our deputies located her. She was arrested and lodged in our jail. On September 14th, the deputies responded to a report of a suicide in the 6400 block of West Saginaw Highway. A person that was mowing in that area noticed a car with its hazard lights on. This worker went and checked on the car, and he noticed that the driver had shot himself in the head. Further investigation did confirm this to be a suicide. On September 15th, deputies responded to a personal injury crash on East Mount Hope Highway near Oneida Road. A male driver from Mulliken rolled his SUV and fled the scene. Deputies at first thought he may have been ejected from the vehicle into the cornfield, but then learned that he fled on foot, but was in rough shape from the crash. Sergeant Popa responded to the area with the drone. He's one of our drone operators. But one of our deputies actually found the driver walking down Mount Hope about 2 miles from the crash site. On September 16th, deputies responded and investigated to a fatal crash eastbound I-96 just north of the Millet overpass. An F-350 merged into a motorcycle. The motorcycle crashed and the driver was deceased at the scene. At this time, we do not believe alcohol or drugs were a factor in this fatal crash. On September 17th, at approximately 18:26 hours, 6:30 p.m., our deputies were dispatched to the 7,000 block of Sherman Road for a man with a gun call. The known suspect had threatened to mail at the residence and fired 3 gunshots off around adults and children. The suspect then fled on a motorcycle. Our deputies began searching for the male throughout the night and were conducting interviews trying to learn his whereabouts. The Eaton County Prosecutor's Office issued a multi-count felony arrest warrant for the suspect. At about 2:00 p.m. the next day, our deputies and detectives were able to locate the suspect hiding in an RV that he had broken into on property in the 8,000 block of East Bellevue Highway. Suspect was arrested without incident and lodged at our jail. On September 20th, our deputies responded to a retail fraud complaint after a female stole a basket full of items from Walgreens at 3915 West Saginaw Highway. Our observant deputies later found the suspect walking near Waverly and Jolly, and she was arrested and lodged at our jail. I will tell you that contrary to what you may have heard around the country about people who commit what's called retail fraud in Michigan or theft from stores, in Eaton County, whenever possible, our deputies effect an arrest and they come to jail. We have very low tolerance for that, and we believe our businesses deserve that level of effort from us, and There are some occasions when we cannot, based on unusual circumstances, but whenever possible, we make the arrest if the probable cause exists and they come to jail. On September 21st, deputies responded to a report of a stolen vehicle and a weapons violation. This is a little bit interesting, so follow with me on this one. I'll try to make it easy enough to follow as I can. Our investigation revealed that a male victim drove to a gas station in Delta Township and left his car running and entered the store portion of the gas station. Another male enters the store, and it appears that the two know each other. When the victim sees this male, eventual victim sees this male, he begins to leave the store. However, when he gets to the front door, he sees there's another male outside who had arrived at the gas station, apparently with this first unknown male suspect. This second male was pointing a gun at the front doors, waiting for the victim to exit. The victim then went back to the store bathroom and then came out a moment later with his own gun in his hand. By the time the victim exited the store, the male suspects had stolen his vehicle. Everyone involved in this incident, meaning the victim and the suspects or whoever was there, were extremely uncooperative with the investigation that was being conducted. On September 27th at Mount Hope and Cochrane, we investigated and policed a fatal crash. There were 3 victims. A van driven by a female with her 3 children was traveling westbound on Mount Hope when she failed to stop at the stop sign, entered the intersection of North Cochrane Road, and was broadsided by an empty grain hauling semi traveling northbound on Cochrane Road. The mother and 2 of her children were discovered by EMS to be deceased at the scene in the van. The 3rd child was transported to Sparrow Hospital with serious injuries. This was a horrific crash. We will be communicating with the Road Commission, encouraging them to make significant improvements in the traffic control, signage, lighting, and perhaps even rumble strip warning sections in that area. Over the years, we have investigated several crashes at this intersection. Commissioner Drosha recalls me being present at a meeting, and more than one meeting at Eaton Township regarding Stewart and Island Road, and ended up writing a pointed letter after several of those meetings, and some changes were made thanks to the Road Commission taking those recommendations. The Sheriff's Office does not have any ability to erect or order the erection of traffic control devices. That is done by the Road Commission or done by MDOT for the state highways, and that is done after a traffic order is issued through the Department of State Police, their Traffic Services Division, after studies are done. But we can have input, we can make input, and we will. And I've already started working. I've already gotten crash data from the person that handles that at the state police, a civilian, who actually lives in that area and has the same concerns. And so I've gathered some of that. Sergeant Pete Walter and Captain Block are definitely want to be involved, and we want to see if we can make this intersection safer. On September 28th, our deputies responded to a report of a large fight between parents at the 8-year-old flag football game at Mount Hope Park in Delta Township. Everybody was involved, was cleared out of the park, and we are working with the Parks Department in Delta to remedy this situation and prevent a reoccurrence. But it really takes an effort by the parents and the coaches and the organizers of events like that to deal with that. On September 28, our deputies assisted Grand Ledge PD in their vehicle pursuit. We attempted to use stop sticks. They're a spike strip, for those of you who don't know, that are thrown across the roadway to deflate the tires of the vehicle, but we were unable to safely do that. The suspect vehicle continued eastbound on Saginaw Highway to Kreitz, where it collided with another vehicle that was turning westbound on Saginaw from northbound Kreitz. The driver of the second car was transported to the hospital with minor injuries. and the driver was arrested for fleeing and eluding. Both the driver and the passenger of the suspect vehicle were also arrested on outstanding warrants, and there was an illegal gun found in the vehicle. And are there any questions that I could answer regarding this?
Questions for Under Sheriff Cook? Busy month.
Yes.
Yeah, that intersection there at Cochran and Mount Hope, I go through there going home all the time. It is a little bit of a tricky intersection if you're not paying attention. So I believe the last couple that was killed was an elderly couple that went through there a while back. So, but yeah, hopefully we can do something there, get the road commission to do something to make that more noticed.
I agree, and it's pretty sad that sometimes things aren't done until after a number of serious crashes occur. And an argument could certainly be made that anytime you have an intersection of roadways where speed limits are set at 55 miles per hour, there's a potential for a very serious or fatal crash. And I guess the question then remains for the road commission and MDOT is what level of traffic warning devices or traffic enforcement devices are placed at those intersections. I wish we could have, like the solution that we finally ended up with. We didn't get a flashing red light like I requested, but we still got lights on top of the stop signs to make them more visible. I think that was the minimal thing that needed to be done, and at least that was done fairly quickly. That can be done without a traffic order, because that's what I pointed out in my letter, was you already have an order for stop signs. Making them more visible and putting devices on them so that people will heed them doesn't require a new order, because it's not erecting a new traffic control signal. So maybe that's the solution here as well.
Commissioner Drosha.
And to continue on with that, it is frustrating, you know it as well as the rest of us here, but getting changes to stuff like that, and I know that there's got to be a traffic study by the state police, I get it, but it seems like it takes too long to get that study around. And one of the things that just boggled my mind about the Stewart Road and Island Highway one was that even though we've had fatalities there, the determination by, I believe it was the state police, was there weren't enough fatalities there to warrant anything else to be done. It just blows me away.
And I don't recall seeing that determination, but maybe in the past that was a determination. I didn't see any report from the last thing. I did see the changes that the road commission made. I don't know if they did another study or not.
I don't know.
We asked them to.
Yeah. And the neighbors have been asking for rumble strips, even if it's only on a temporary basis, to see if it changes things.
Well, as you know, there is a new director of operations at the road commission.
I've spoken with him.
Perhaps some changes can be made.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. I'm just curious about that also. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Sheriff, or Under Sheriff Cook, thanks. All right, next we have, it looks like a resolution.
Yes, it's a resolution for a grant we've had since 2020, and it's for hotel enforcement. It's been very successful for the sheriff's office.
I'd like to move it.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Drosha, support by Commissioner Drosha. Yeah, and it's no match, correct? I believe. All right, any questions on that? Seeing none, all those in support, or all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, next on the agenda, the central dispatch update.
Good afternoon. Myself and Deputy Director DeVetter and 2 supervisors, we attended the Emerging Technology Forum. It was actually hosted in our county at the Crown Plaza in Delta Township just this week. It is a great training. It's hosted by the State 911 office, so it's all 911 related. Some of the big takeaways there are especially LEAN, which is our Law Enforcement Information Network, and our Criminal Justice Information System. They like to make new rules every year. So the big thing was attending that meeting and finding out all the new unfunded mandates that we have to implement. So we are working on that now, and we will have to make some changes to our radios. We have to up the encryption of those. But we do have till 2026, and we are fortunate that it shouldn't be too hindrance on cost because we already have encryption in place. But there are numerous counties that have zero encryption, and what encryption is it's basically something on the radio talk group frequency, and the general public cannot hear that talk group. And what happens on those talk groups is lean information, so personal information, officer safety information, things that isn't even in the FOIA world, isn't able to be released. So we're working through some of those mandates. We found out just even as simple as my clerk receptionist comes over to the courthouse to pick up warrants, and she now has to put those in a locked document bag. So I had to purchase locked document bags now. So, oh, the joys. We had 2 anniversaries this month. So Brianna Shaw, we celebrated her 5 years of service. And then Mike Bukowski, you may hear us call him Lug quite often because back in the day, he used to be the Lug Nuts mascot, so it hasn't gone away. But Lug celebrated his 20 years of service. So we did celebrate those. We do currently have 2 vacancies, but I have 2 new people starting on Monday. So we are getting ready for them, and one has experience, one's from another county. She is relocating due to family. So we are excited and ready for that. We also hosted so our radio system is the Michigan Public Safety Communication System. We hosted a tower rescue exercise in Olivet last week. And they were supposed to fly the rescue team in a helicopter to land in Olivet, but the weather did not cooperate. So they did drive down. It's a special rescue team that is located in Lansing, and they drove down and they do mock an exercise where someone who was performing tower maintenance or up there for any reason got hurt or is having a medical issue, they do a rescue on it. It was pretty cool to be a part of and watch. Also, I did get notice that it is time for the Michigan APCO Awards again. And we always try to nominate our people for all the great things they do. And this year, John Merrick, he has been named the 2024 Michigan APCO Information Technologist of the Year. So he will receive his award in Frankenmuth at Zender's Restaurant on October 24th. And then also, we received the Team of the Year, but it's not just our team. So it is Clinton County and Eaton County. And it is for the events that took place on May 18th. And that would be the accident that occurred up in Wacusta where the family was going kayaking and was struck by a vehicle who fled the scene. And it happened in Clinton County. However, that is Delta Fire's area. And the biggest thing that was in the nomination is that Eaton County and Clinton County, we work together seamlessly. We have a CAD to CAD connection, so it connects our, it's a computer automated dispatch. It's our computer program. It connects those 2 together. And Clinton County at the time only had 2 people working, 2 people and a supervisor. So with that, they were thankful that they were able to enter the call, and then we took care of the fire and EMS response for them. So it was a true team effort between 2 counties, and they will be recognized also on October 24th in Frankenmuth. And that includes Supervisor Jessica Nunham, telecommunicator Samantha Nierink, telecommunicator Alyssa Thorne, and telecommunicator Madison Hewer. So we will be celebrating them at the end of the month. That is all I have.
Thank you, Kelly. Busy month for you, too.
Yes.
Any questions for Kelly? Commissioner Holmes?
Yeah, and that, you said out in Olivet was a tower rescue exercise.
Yes.
What tower out there did they use?
It's on Butterfield Highway. It's our radio tower. So it is owned by Eaton County,
Okay.
but it is in the lot where there's city recycling
Right,
and
yeah, I know
mulch.
where
Yep.
that is. What's the tallest one they could rescue off from, or didn't they?
They can go on any tower, but I know when they plan the exercises, they plan them at different heights. So I think they did 200 feet on this one. But then we have like the radio tower that's in Hamlin Township. That is a very large tower.
Channel 47, yeah.
Yep. And so we rent that and our radio equipment's on it. So they're trained to do tower rescues off of that also.
From all the way to the top, or?
Yep.
I never had to be
I would
rescued.
pass on that job, but I was fine on the ground where I was at.
Oh, just one, because I never had to be rescued, but it'd been a bunch of them.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions for Kelly? All right, thank you very much, Kelly,
Thank you.
for your time. All right, moving on next, we have a prosecutor's office grant resolution.
Yeah, we do have emergency management report, but
Oh, yeah,
Ryan's
I
not
apologize.
here,
Yeah,
so-
I went over that. I apologize. Yeah, for the emergency management update, Ryan's not here today, so we'll just read what's in the packet there. You can do that at your own time. There are no action items, no report at this time. Sorry, now moving on to the prosecutor's office grant resolution.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you remember, but prosecuting attorneys' offices across the state have received grant funds in order to recruit and retain employees so that they can deal with backlog of cases. So the county prosecuting attorney here received dedicated $250,000. We need to apply for the grant, which we're ready to do. The only thing that I need to change within this resolution, as I was just reading it, there's not a provision in here that indicates the action by Ways and Means to make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners on what compensation structure would be provided. So and I want to do that to ensure that we can do it. So I'd like to add to this, whereas the Controller's Office and the Prosecutor's Office will propose a plan for compensation and recruitment to the Ways and Means Committee for recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
Move with amendments.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Toomey, supported by Commissioner Haskell. Any questions on that? All right, all those in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any miscellaneous items?
No.
Anyone else miscellaneous items? All right, seeing none, last limited public comment. Looks like we have none. We will adjourn until next month, which is November 7th, 2 days after Election Day.